Good day, everybody. Today I'm talking to Goutham Bandaru, who is the founder of OfficeFlow. Good day, Goutham. How are you?
I'm good, Jose. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. And how is the weather in Melbourne? Is everything going all right?
Yeah, the weather in Melbourne is kind of sunny today. Yeah, like we can see four seasons in a day. We have a very warm start, and then gets windy in the evening, and then very cozy and cold in the nights. Yeah, Melbourne weather is great.
Excellent,
Until
excellent.
you enjoy it.
Excellent. Thank you, Goutham, for sharing that. And Goutham, are you happy for me to move on to our first question?
Oh, sure. I just wanted to thank you for having me here. Thank you.
You're most welcome, Goutham. So let's move on to our first question. Can you please share a little about yourself, Goutham, the place you were born, your education, your passion, the things that you enjoy doing, and one thing that the public might not know about you?
Sure. Sure, Jose. So yeah, I was born in the southern part of India in a small town called Nellore. But most of my education was done in other small parts of South India as well, in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And then I moved to a city, called Vijayawada, to do my undergraduation. That's where the seeds for my entrepreneurship journey actually started. And then I successfully completed my bachelor's in computer science there. And then after completing my bachelor's in computer science, I wanted to experience other fields as well, like how about product, how about marketing, how about sales, how do you actually sell a piece of software to businesses? So, and then that provoked me to do an internship in Bangalore in one of these tech startups. So as soon as I finished, I applied through online, where like internships were a fair new thing. Then back in 2015, finally, did a lot of Skype interviews. What people are going through now, I did everything in 2015 back then as well, and then moved to Bangalore as an Alice in Wonderworld. That was a completely new, huge city for me, and where there are opportunities everywhere. I get to meet like so many like-minded people there who actually been in the entrepreneurship cycle, the product development cycle from quite a long time. And then yes, after that, I was interning as a marketing and sales intern there, like selling specialized custom CRM software to a couple of to our potential partners. And then I really liked it because the primary reason why I liked it, because I come from a technical background. I understand how things happen in the backend from a technology perspective, but I really like the part of selling that to people, how technology can help people in solving their own business problems. And I fell in so love with it. And I had to do another internship with another company, but from a different domain. They're concentrating a different industry in terms of business development. It's a bit of high level. Like instead of talking directly to the potential partners, you talk to people at the executive level. And yes, and from that, and I thought yes, I wanted to pursue higher education as well. And coming from a South Indian background, so the traditional or the only places where people go for higher education is either America or Canada or London or UK. So it took me a year to convince my parents that not those countries, they're not of my type. I wanted to go to Australia. And my dad and my mom were now we are very settled in US. My uncles, they're all American citizens. We've got good set of things happening there in US where I can lead a comfortable life, and they can also help me a lot from a career perspective as well. But I had to challenge everything. I had to give up. I had to make certain sacrifices, and I have to take complete responsibility for myself. And finally, I accepted them. I made them accept. I moved to Australia. So finally landed in Australia in 2016 to do my master's in data analytics at Deakin University. Had so much fun studying data analytics and moving as a new immigrant to Australia, learned so many things, explored many places, understood different cultures, like how unique Australian culture is by itself. And then, met people from different communities and started slowly engaging into the entrepreneurial community here in Melbourne as well. Attended a lot of networking events, try gaining confidence as a person to get to speak different people, get to network with different people, understand different industries, how things happen, understand different disciplines, how things happen, trying to understand the difference between Indian community and from the Western community, on how to bridge, how they're similar, how they're different, what sort of how unique the Western culture is by it ways, and how things happen here. And yeah, learned a lot, and also finally graduated from Deakin University and started looking for a job. So it was a tough ride to get into a job as an international student with not so huge professional work experience back then, but I had a very good story to say. And then finally landed an internship here as a data analyst in one of the startups. Learned a lot, worked on multiple data sets, and gave the company a very good valuable learnings. And then the company I interned for referred me to another company, and where that company gave me a contract role, which turned out to be a full-time role. I'm very grateful. I'm still working till date. Like even the COVID still there. I'm very grateful for my work. And coming to my interest, always been very active in the entrepreneurial space. Wanted to do something for myself. Always dreamt of like having huge ventures, doing many things, being involved in different industries and helping a lot of people, and do my share to the community as well. Yes, and yes, very, very entrepreneurial, always very curious and very ambitious. As ambitious, I wanted to build Australia's next Atlassian with OfficeFlow.
Good on you, Goutham. Good on you for sharing that, and thank you for giving us that context. And I personally think that Australia is lucky to have you here in Australia. And with your entrepreneurial mindset, it's a great asset for Australia, and we are hoping that great things will come out from you, into the future. So thank you for sharing that story, and I'm sure that your family in the US is probably sad, but we in Australia, we're happy that you're here with us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, the way of Australians also, they're very a bunch of ingenious people, right? Even from the start, they invented Wi-Fi. They have an independent and individual mindset that I think that reflects in me a little bit as well.
Good on you, Goutham. Thank you for sharing that. And Goutham, moving on to our next question, can you please share about your work experience prior to you starting your venture, OfficeFlow?
Yes, definitely. And thanks for the question. So yes, multiple internships in marketing and development, sales, and also technology as well. A couple of internships in web development and product development companies. Always keen how technology can help businesses. And I was always passionate about small and medium businesses, and help small and medium businesses, considering they constitute over 90% for any economic growth or any workplace, where they hire 90% of the workforce, compared to not the top 100 or top 500. So always wanted to help small and medium business in the way I can. And that's how it started. So even after finishing my graduation from Deakin University, maybe everybody have a dream that I wanted to work for a big four, or I want to work for any big banks, be doing this and huge corporations. But I wanted to start my journey in a startup or a small and medium business, where I can literally see how much value I am delivering to the company itself, and I can see the change I'm trying to bring, or how my contribution, how my work is directly affecting the business as well, in a positive way or a negative way, so that I can change myself, I can iterate, or I can change my work style, and all those I literally wanted to have that first hand experience on what I deliver. So it comes in two different ways. Either I can learn from my mistakes, or I can tune my own self to match what the employers look, or also to match what's the future professional in me as well. And yes, so did many things, but to start with, during my undergraduation, I was a volunteer in a world's biggest student organization called ISEC. So I was the vice president for business development and external relationships. So yes, we've been working with international clients, running social impact projects back there in Vijayawada, like bringing interns and people from international countries down there and running projects there. And I used to be responsible for making my local chapter financially stable. And after that, did couple internships in technology related companies, but in business development and customer experience domains. And then here in Australia, I'm currently working as a project manager with Outcome.Life. So we responsible. So we're contacted by educational institutions and universities to help their students into practical experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Goutham, for sharing your experience with us. And Goutham, moving on to our next question. Can you please tell me, when did you start OfficeFlow, and what was the inspiration behind this entrepreneurial venture?
Yes. So with OfficeFlow, so after me finishing my graduation, so I had a couple mentors. So it's actually idea of one of my mentor, like, because during seeing me, like, applying for 1 million jobs, applying for 100 every day, having huge spreadsheets, what are the applications I've made, but haven't heard anything back from most of the recruiters. So considering my energy, my enthusiasm, what of the energy I'm putting into my applications, a couple of my mentors actually suggested, what if you start your own consulting company, like you help small and medium businesses with data analytics solutions. So that's how I started Simple Insights there, like, got the domain, like started working, having conversations with small and medium businesses. But as we understand, most of the people, first businesses, they don't go well. And it's also another thing in me, because I wasn't ready and I wasn't confident enough then. But after that, like, being in the community, being in the industry, talking to different people, I gained confidence. I, like, modulated my language a little bit better, like, position myself as an expert or as an industry professional in the industry. That gave me more understanding of how industry works. After that, so the original idea of OfficeFlow started in two different ways, right? So my passion for small and medium businesses was very high. At the same time, I always wanted to have a perfect product, like, which caters a lot of people, which caters the most of the people, from digital consultants or from employees to large scale corporations to small and medium businesses, consultant, freelancers, everybody. So I was also researching, like talking to multiple people, what would be the best idea of, like, something for a product or a service doing everything. So initially started OfficeFlow as an automation consulting business to help small and medium businesses with consulting automation, like, eliminating a lot of administration, paperwork and everything for them so that they can scale their businesses. But, talking to more people, businesses, individuals and consultants and freelancers. So the problem is much bigger than just automation. So they think a product can serve better, and we were iterating in the whole process. So we were testing our assumptions, we were testing our hypothesis, we were validating what our hypothesis is. We set up a feedback loop where I was constantly learning and constantly understanding the industry itself. And, like, the last maybe 10th iteration or 15th iteration would be OfficeFlow as a product, like, bringing all applications together to one place and providing the power to the user to write their own workflows, and in the future using AI to manage all the workflows and recommend people based on the applications you use. These are the potential workflows you can use, and these are the benefits you can by using this particular workflow which is recommended by AI engine.
Excellent, Gautam. One thing I was thinking as you were sharing that, so you actually done a lot of groundwork with small to medium enterprises. You've made that effort to actually understand the pain points of businesses out there. And you said, like, you iterated 10 to 15 times before you came up with this, with this product, which is OfficeFlow. And that's very encouraging to know, because it shows that you've actually put in a lot of effort and thought into your venture, which is actually very positive. You know what I mean? And congrats for doing that.
Thank you. you always need people to help you as well. So like, yes, my mentors, I had to give up on many things. I'm still working full time on managing both work and your startup venture, and being a part of couple accelerator programs as well, which added a lot of direction to what I wanted to do by bringing external sources and shaping the ideation process, and like, helping me how to validate the frameworks, the terminologies you need to speak when you're validating your idea, the best way to produce your ideas on paper. Accelerator programs did a lot of benefit to me in the whole journey as well.
Excellent, excellent, Goutham. And Goutham, moving on to our next question. What lessons have you brought forth from your previous work experiences into your business, startup, or venture, which is OfficeFlow?
So starting from the way I started with my volunteering work on internships, so communication is everything. That's one of the primary thing. And you have to do as much research as possible. The more research you do, the more inspiration you get from the problem itself. And it motivates you to find a better solution. And you should also understand the dynamics of how the industry is evolving as a consumer software, because we play in the consumer software industry. The industry pre-COVID is completely different. The industry during COVID is different. Right now, the industry is completely different. More companies, if you look at Google, Facebook, they're trying to move the entire workforce remote until June or July next year. So there's strongly when the industry is transitioning, like over the last 5 years or 10 years, and automation and AI gaining a lot of energy into it. So we wanted to build something around which fits in everywhere, and also at the same time not so expensive but generates immediate value.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing those points, Goutham. And I think one thing that stood out for me as you were sharing is inspiration from the problem. You know what I mean? Which is probably something that a lot of people might have not heard. Like, how do you get inspiration from a problem? But as an entrepreneur, and I think as a person looking to find a solution, that is probably where everyone's journey needs to start from. Identifying a problem and being inspired by that problem, and then to try to find a solution for that problem. So you seem to have nailed it on the head, Goutham. Well done.
Completely agree with you on that, Tony, because the main reasons why startups are very successful compared to legacy businesses or other consulting business, because startups focus on one particular problem. The way you define a problem can be two different things, right? Either you experience the problem firsthand, or you can see many people experience the problem along with you, or the people, or you learn from other people's experience that they are having some sort of problem. So like in the whole process, because I was also a professional working, having like 10 different applications in my computer right now open, and almost like 60-70 tabs open, I experienced the problem firsthand, and working a part of a very progressive company and also a very digital team, like seeing my team members follow the same thing, and also validating my problem with many people, like servicing like surveys, having face-to-face chats, having customer interviews to those people. I like, there is a strong validation that, there's a huge productivity loss, just juggling between multiple apps, and automation can also provide significant value slowly. Yes. So like we strongly validated our problem, like defining a problem is the best thing. If you can't define and add a scope to your problem, then you can't have a successful startup.
Thank you, Goutham, for sharing that. And so, could you please share about OfficeFlow's unique product offerings? I believe you touched on this in your previous answers, but can you elaborate a bit more, please?
So yes, so OfficeFlow, we recently rebranded it called One App. So it different, like the name says it by itself, which is pretty standard. So one app for all your apps. So we're bringing all cloud-based apps together to one desktop app, and providing the users to write automated workflows natively inside the app as well. To start with, we will be providing them with the apps to bring everything together to one place, like one productivity suite for collaboration among your team members or to your externals. You can be used as an software within the organization as well. And the second part would be bringing the automation part to it, where users can write their own drag and drop, completely no code drag and drop workflow automation software. And the third phase would be like using advanced AI into it based on the softwares you use, and like the AI automatically recommends. So if you're using Trello for project management, if you're using Google Forms where to collect certain information. So the AI will be tuned in such a way that it will recommend you. So you using this and using Google Forms and using Trello. What if on very form submission, it automatically puts in a new card in your Trello bucket, and you can do everything natively in the app as well.
Excellent, Gautam. Thank you for sharing that. And it's interesting to know that, so something that you do on Google Forms can be actually transitioned as a card into Trello. That sounds quite interesting. And is there other apps or possibilities of other apps actually leveraging this AI skill sets to make OfficeFlow more efficient, or are you working on a specific set of apps like Trello and Google Forms and stuff?
Yes, from part of our roadmap. So OfficeFlow should be the automation components should be able to work on every cloud-based web apps. So Trello is a cloud-based web app, right? Or like if you're using Jira is a cloud-based web app, Miro for collaboration is a cloud-based web app too. So it should work on every cloud-based web apps.
Excellent, Gautam. Thank you for sharing that. And Gautam, moving on to our next question. Moving forward, what are your plans for OfficeFlow?
So right now, we are in communication with a couple of providers who one is from Germany and one is based in UK. So we're talking to them in terms of developing an MVP with them. So yes, I'm also looking for a potential technical co-founder. I come from a non-technical background, even though I understand technology, but I don't know how to code. I'm not a hardcore techie, but I'm looking for a technical co-founder, and also in next couple months, also expanding the team.
That's wonderful, and all the best with your journey.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a very exciting thing. So when you're a non-technical co-founder, you get to learn more because you have to understand from a product development lifecycle to the full stack, what sort of technologies has to go in from the cloud providers, from APIs, from setting up frameworks, understanding microservices. You learn a lot in the whole process, but at the same time, you have to be capable enough to understand how you how you market your product. At the same time, how do you initiate conversations with other people? How do you get other people excited about your project and everything? Yes. So when you're a non-technical co-founder, there are multiple other resources who can who can help you to but some certain extent. But when you directly want to get into the product development itself, it's always better and recommended to have somebody who's very good at technical expertise.
So thank you, Gautam, for that answer. And moving on to our next question, Gautam. Did you face any challenges when you decided to start your entrepreneurial journey in Australia? If yes, could you please mention a few?
Yes, there were many challenges in the whole process. From the day you have an idea, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you don't know whom you have to talk to. On everybody, if you approach any agency, they don't sign any NDAs with you, and they might potentially look into your idea as their own idea as well. And the primary thing is you don't have proper education after you have an idea, whom to approach, whom to talk with, what to do. I did a lot of research around whom to go, and I found there's many accelerator programs who can help internationals and international students at the same time, who also can help. If you have an idea, they can work with you to develop a shape around your idea. So yes, in the whole process, there were many challenges. Personally, multiple challenges, because initially when I started something, I wasn't ready for it because I wasn't confident enough. But later in the whole process, I became strong by myself. There were people who can supported me. You have to give up. You have to sacrifice certain things. You have to sacrifice your personal time. There are no weekends because you have a strong vision to what you wanted to do, and if you're bound to your vision at the same time, you have to give up on many things. Yes, there were fair amount of challenges. One of the primary challenge is I'm still not a permanent resident of Australia. I'm still here on a visa. That's one of the biggest challenge and always a daunting experience, because when you see that you have a product and you're progressing with your product, but you're uncertain whether will you stay back in the country. That's one of the primary challenge, and a mental challenge too, because you have to fight within yourself what your next steps are, because you're putting your energy into it, you're putting your money into it, and at the same time you're putting other people who are helping you into this as well. But if you're not certain to stay back in the country, then that's a huge challenge.
Thank you, Gautam, for sharing that. And I think that is actually a very big pain point, I would think, for a lot of international students who might have entrepreneurial ideas. And as you said, as you rightly said, if you start on that journey, there is no assurance that you would actually be able to own that business and stay back in Australia. So that I do see that as a big challenge for international students. And thank you, Gautam, for sharing that. And hopefully, things would change into the future. Let's hope for the best. And
Okay.
And Gautam, moving on to our next question, what are the life and business lessons that you would like to share with someone who is planning to start an entrepreneurial venture in Australia?
Yes, my biggest suggestion would be start something. Don't just talk about it, start doing something. If you're really enthusiastic, if you're really ambitious enough, there are tons of good people out there and other resources out there who are more than happy to help you. There are many accelerator programs, both online or face-to-face. Universities do a lot in growing entrepreneurialism among their students. There's so many good people who are happy to mentor you if you have a targeted and a well-defined problem or a well-defined question to ask them. My strong recommendation for any budding entrepreneurs or who potentially wants to start their own ventures, try to have at least one or two mentors. A mentor who can help you from a technical point of view, who can coach you. At the same time, having a mentor who can make things very profitable in a short span of time.
Excellent, Gautam, and that's very encouraging to hear. So, if I can hear you correctly, you're basically saying to a person who has those entrepreneurial ambitions in them to basically start with something, you know what I mean, and give it a go, and then you can learn through that process. And as you rightly said, Australia does have a lot of incubation spaces and accelerator spaces. So it's probably about making that decision, in actually registering for some of those programs and trying to learn as much as they can about their problem or the solution they're trying to build. And then, iterate and pivot, or, it's an amazing thing. I'm sure, Gautam, as you look back, as you said, with OfficeFlow, you iterated about 10 to 15 times. And that's probably happened because you had a lot of feedback from the market, from your mentors, and you kind of realized, okay, probably there is value in what they're saying. So probably it's better to change my direction this way, or change my direction that way. So unless and until you start that journey, you would never know. So that is very encouraging, Gautam, to hear from your side.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, from last 4 years, if I look back of coming into the country as a student and then graduating, transitioning to a professional, and right now being in a shoes of founder of the company. So it's a one hell of a ride. But in the whole process, there are many things I've learned. There are many things I've never known before. Or if I wouldn't have started something, if I wouldn't have had that privilege to come across those thoughts and to overcome those fears, and I wouldn't have been here. So I would recommend anybody to start. Just go there, get out there, start doing something. The more you fail, the better chances for you to succeed.
Excellent. I think probably we can end on that note. The more you fail, the better chances of you actually succeeding. You're such an encouragement for the entrepreneurs out there, and hope that you would be able to encourage many more people into the future. So wish you all the best, and best of luck with OfficeFlow.
Thank you, Jose. It was my pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.